All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Steve Hart, and I am the owner of Park Place Installations. And we've been in the technology industry for over 19 years, installing commercial and residential systems. So I wanted to go over some modern technology that we can use and do use in our everyday lives, and some ways that be secure about it and keep it safe for everyone. So to start that out, I wanted to talk about door locks. In 1848, the first keyed door lock was invented by an American named Linus Yale. And Yale locks, I'm sure you guys have seen everywhere coming through ever since then. Before he invented this, people used a wooden stick, or maybe like a piece of like steel rod, or even some rope to keep their doors locked. At that time, this new key door lock was modern technology. Not everyone used it, nor they had access to it. And now flash forward 172 years, and we all have and use door locks. In fact, if we were to buy a home, we can guarantee it's going to have some door locks on it. It has become standard practice and part of our everyday life. A little bit more in history. In 1991, the first webcam was invented, and it was used to check the coffee pot level at Cambridge University by the students there to make sure they never ran out of coffee. At this time, the internet was in its infancy, and the only option was dial-up. And then flash forward 29 years till today, and over 313 million of us have high-speed internet, and everyone has a webcam or a phone in their pocket that they can carry around. So just as door locks became, webcams and the internet are standard practice. So what do door locks and webcams and internet have in common? Your answer and your thought process should be everything. If you apply your thinking and take actions to lock down your internet and your webcam actions, you will keep yourself, family, and friends safe in modern life. Technology is great. I love it and I use it every day. Siri, Google, Crestron, Maps, music, YouTube. I love it and I use it all. Can't live without it. So when setting up your technology, I want to share some ideas and guidelines to make the experience safe, simple, and more enjoyable. So I'm gonna go to our showroom and I'll show you some different products that you guys can use that are part of this modern technology. So we're gonna start off talking about Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi comprises of 4 different parts. There's a modem, there's a router, there's a switch, and there's an access point. And let me show you some of these. So a router, it can be a small box, and this is going to connect to the modem. The modem is something that Spectrum Internet is going to provide for you guys. So a router is going to have some flashing lights on it, and it's going to have some different Ethernet ports in the back. So one is going to be dedicated for the internet out, and then another one is going to be dedicated for the internet that's going to come inside. And there's many different sizes and shapes of routers, and also capacity of routers. There's routers that can hold 50 users, and there's routers that can hold 5,000 users. All depends on the setup and the need for it. Then there can be a switch. This is a small 5-port switch. This allows different computers and different things to hook up. It's kind of like a splitter. So all it does is it has these ports in the back, and that splits the signal. Now, there can be large switches up to 48 ports, where this one is just a 5. And also the switch can manage users down to a very finite level. So it can block access, direct traffic specific ways, and that comes in handy when a larger building has different systems. So maybe not only the Wi-Fi, but maybe the lighting control for different parts. The switch becomes a very important part for that. And then the big thing that we all need is Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is achieved through an access point. So some kind of device similar to this. These can be mounted on the wall, or mounted on the ceiling, and this actually broadcasts the signal that gives your device the internet access. And this communicates back with the switch and back with the router, and it all becomes one big system. And having that Wi-Fi setup is important. So with that, when you're setting up Wi-Fi in your house or in your business, here's a couple of things you want to follow, a couple of guidelines. You never want to use the default password, like admin or admin password. You want to set up a new login and you want to document whatever that is. And you never want to put your name, your address, or personal info in the Wi-Fi name. That can become a quote back door for someone to be able to get in and find out information about you and access your different types of equipment. Now also there's smart devices that can also go into the home, into the business. And we're seeing this more and more, and it's become part of life. Things like door locks, thermostats, light controllers, cameras, all of these come here. So let me show you a couple of different ones of these. So a doorbell is a great thing to be able to have. This is one made by Ring. It's a very popular product. So with this product, you take out your old, you install this right over it. It gives you a high definition camera. It gives you a microphone. It gives you a speaker, all in one device. And you can get access anywhere for it. This is great security and convenience. Now you can take that doorbell and you can pair it up with a wireless door lock. So this is an example of a regular deadbolt. So you can open and close the door just like normal from the inside, but on the outside, you do still have a key that you can use, but then it's got a keypad that you can use, and you can use codes for it. Now we've seen coded doors before, but then you can take it a step further with the right one. Let's say you have to work, but you have a maintenance man that has to get into the house during business hours. With a smart door lock, you can set up an access code just for that maintenance man to work on just that day. So he can gain access to your home or business, get the work done, and then let's just, if he came back the next day, that code is no longer going to work, or if he shared it. So you've built in some security for yourself. You don't have to worry about hiding the key or leaving it. Just by having the right smart device, it gives you a lot of security and convenience. Another big great thing is a thermostat. We have seen these. These have been more popular for a while. And to be able to save energy and monitor what's going on. Nest is one of the more popular ones that are used. There are many different ones. Crestron based on other ones, and Nest is the most popular. And this actually learns about how you live your life, so it can automatically adjust the schedule. But having the app access is wonderful to be able to remotely control the temperature. And then things of cameras also as well. So here is a Google camera. There's high vision cameras. There's all different types of cameras. And with cameras, they do have to be wired. There are such things as wireless cameras, but they need power somehow. And that comes from a battery usually. So unless you want to change batteries all the time, having a wired camera, because then you know it's always going to be on at the right time. So with these door locks and thermostats and light controllers and doorbells, you have to be able to manage that. And you can do it with your phone or device, but you can also have like a touch panel in the house or in the residence that can control all of this. So everything can come up here. You can interact with your voice and you can interact with touch. And if you set up that secure Wi-Fi network that we already spoke of, so that when you follow those protocols, this is totally safe and reliable that you can use every day. So now we're going to talk about some streaming media. So I'm going to go over to our home theater, and I'll show you some ideas over there. So this is our integrated home theater. We have a 133-inch screen and Dolby Digital surround sound. And as you can see behind me, the screen's coming out, and we have Netflix on it. And many people use Netflix. Before Netflix, we had cable boxes. They stayed in our home, and they could only be used in our home. Instead, it was safe and secure. Now you can take your streaming account and share it with others, or vice versa. And if you do share it, this can create a back door for cybercrime, because I'm sure many of your Netflix passwords are the same as your emails, your Wi-Fi, and etc. So think about that before you're sharing your account or you're accepting someone else's, because that could be that back door. So then with all this, some people ask, can I get hacked? And yes, you can. But in order for this to happen, a few things have to line up for the cybercrime to take place. They have to know that you have something worth taking. And they also have to know your password, or have that back door to be able to find out that information. We already spoke about some ways that that can happen. So you can take those measures to prevent that so that you have nothing to worry about. And how do they do this? Usually these cyber criminals, they'll go for the low-hanging fruit. So that would be default passwords and open Wi-Fi or the same password as all the other accounts. So if you follow those practices we spoke of, you take some action, set up that secure Wi-Fi, document everything in a safe place, you really greatly reduce your chances of ever being hacked. With all this, I suggest that people invest in a password keeper. We've been using them for years. There's free ones out there that work well, and there's also paid ones. And depending on the need of it, it could be worth investing in a good password keeper. So because all this tech, you're gonna have to have passwords, and you won't be able to use your pet's name or the town you were born in for long. They're gonna make you change them. You're gonna have to update them. And if you have a note on your phone or an email or a piece of paper, that is not good. That is not safe. That is not secure. It's not reliable. These keepers are a reliable way to manage all of this. And they actually make it easier because then they will auto log you in, and you can verify with Face ID or Touch ID automatically. So it'll actually make your web browsing a lot simpler while keeping it safe. So definitely look at a password keeper. And then in closing, technology, it's all around us. It is safe and it provides much of our daily life. By taking some time and some thought when setting up technology, you can keep it safe, you can keep it simple, just like a door lock is. So those are the points that I wanted to cover. I'm happy to go over any other points with anyone, or if they need to see anything else around the showroom, feel free to chime in.
Well, thank you, Jay. Do any of our participants have a question for Jay? So Jay, I understand your company works with a lot of different clients and not just higher ed, but thinking about the higher ed population and some of those security concerns that you talked about, are there particular examples, pitfalls that you see students tending to get into, and any specific advice for what they might do beyond some of it you've already offered?
Yes, so in higher ed, there can be common rooms where the school has provided video displays for the students to use for media. And so the student could hook up their own device and then log in through their own account, or the device could have a built-in where they can log in. So their Netflix or anything of that sort. And it's an innocent thing. We're going to sit down, we're going to watch a movie. But if you're sharing that information, or if you're staying logged in on that device, now you've created a potential, back door in that term for then cybercrime to happen. Because if somebody overhears that or sees that login, just by being inadvertently in the room, and they have skills and a mindset to go for that, it can lead to when somebody could be attacked and identities and everything else could be stolen.
Certainly some good advice. I think in some cases there are students who think, well, if I'm on one of the GCC campuses and I'm on the GCC wireless, everything is okay. Or if I'm on a GCC desktop that's connected, that, well, someone's looking out for me and I'm going to be safe. So, it's good advice that they know that, these are in some ways, open networks, and it's very easy. You can still get yourself into some big trouble if you're not careful.
Yes, it's those, because we think of it as, especially with the streaming media, it's just, oh, it's my Netflix, it's, my Amazon, who cares? But if you're not practicing other safe practices of having different types of passwords, and keeping them in a secure spot, like in that password keeper, now a cyber criminal, they have the skill set to be able to figure that out. It won't be a direct, they're going to key in the right password, but they can use those clues to key in and through a little bit of trial and error, and then they can gain access to a lot of your information.
Absolutely. Well, again, does anyone else have some a question they would like to ask Jay?
Hey, Jay, could you tell us a little bit about Park Place and, just give us a little brief company synopsis?
Yes, so we've been in business for over 19 years. I started the company on my own and had family work with me, and we've grown and we service all Western New York area, and we also service other states, all on the Eastern Seaboard we've been to. We started mostly in residential, and now we're more in the commercial and higher education market. We saw a lot of cool stuff, which is great. And every day we get to touch modern technology and integrate it in. And we put in a lot of the best equipment, but I always feel that even if it's the best, if people don't understand how to use it, what's the point? So our big focus is that making sure people understand how everything works, that it's a simple operation, and that it follows, intuitive operation. So that's a big part of that. And to bring that together takes a lot. Our one supervisor, he came up with a good saying, because people say wireless this and wireless that, wireless cameras and wireless doors and wireless. And the actuality is that it really takes a lot of wires to be wireless. And that's where we come in.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jay. We appreciate your time and expertise this morning.